Yeah, so the idea behind tonight's presentation is performance. Um, I think mostly because we have the reintroduction to football again. I've been getting a lot of comments or a lot of people asking about how to improve performance, and a lot of clients asking about how to improve performance. So I think it's a really important topic to have a look at. Um, and what I want to do fundamentally is break it down and show you that performance doesn't have to be some kind of abstract, sort of intangible thing that we cross our fingers and we hope that we kind of get. Um, there are a lot of simple things that we can do on a day-to-day basis that will put us in the best place to produce our best performance. So I think we'll go. There's 17 people. Like I said, I think there were 66 people signed up, but sure, 17 is better than nothing. So I'll start sharing this screen and then we'll go for it. No, that's not me there. It's this, and it's this. So hopefully everyone is able to see this. Like I said, this is probably my first time doing a shared screen. Um, Hopefully everyone can see that. How do I get that little thing out of the way? Because I don't want to see myself. Yeah, so okay, that's the bottom of the screen. So let's go then. Yeah, so the presentation is about optimal performance. And like I said, I wanted to make it something that everyone can look at and everyone can put certain processes or things in place in order to be able to improve their individual performance. And I think that's a really important thing to state, that it's about your individual performance. It's not about emulating anyone else, because you can only do what you can do. So it's about creating a formula, giving you the structure to put in place to go out and carry it out yourself. Now, these are just guidelines, but I think I've done enough research and I've worked enough with clients to understand that they work. So my name is Garth Fox. For anyone who doesn't know me, I think a few people came over from the article that was on Joe, Sports Joe, there recently. I'm a mental performance coach. I started out as a therapist and I'm a qualified hypnotherapist, but I work predominantly in sport. And I know there are a few people who are on tonight who are not here for sporting reasons, but for business. And they work together, because we perform in business just the same way we perform in sport. So yeah, I work predominantly with elite athletes as a mindset coach, as a mental performance coach, and that's what tonight is going to be about. So let's see. Presentation. So why performance? And then the second part of the presentation will be a 4-pillar system that I think is really important to put in place in order to give yourself some structure. We talk about that. The third is the benefits of investing in improving your mental performance. And I just wanted to give you the image of the cage and the beast, because I think when we have images or analogies or anything like that, it makes it easier for us to understand what it is that we're actually doing. So I came up with this actually today, and I texted a friend and I said, hey, do you think that this is worth putting in? And he was like, okay, well, make sure it works. So let's fingers crossed, hope it works. And then the final part, which will be the majority of the presentation, is the optimal performance formula. So I've broken down what I think is what uh, are the fundamentals of optimal performance. If you do this and you do this, then you should be able to elicit optimal performance. So why performance? Um, for some people, I think it might be a difficult thing to hear, but performance is everything. Once you enter into a certain level of competition, performance becomes the most important thing, regardless of personal enjoyment. Performance is more important. So it's important to learn how to be practical and efficient with our performance to get the best out of ourselves. Now, when I say regardless of our own personal enjoyment, it's because when you enter into a certain level of competition, you have a responsibility to those around you to be at your best. Now, whether that be in team sport or an individual sport with a coaching team around you, anywhere where there's been temporal, so time, or financial investment from someone else, you have a responsibility to be at your best. Now, how do I get that out of the road so I can see the rest of the slide? Let me see. Bloody annoying. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to get this there, got it away. So yes, anywhere where you step into a certain level, let's say, because I know a lot of people who are on tonight are part of the playing the GAA, but I also have some individual athletes too. Once you step into senior level, even if it's club football, you have a responsibility to those around you to be at your best. And so it is completely worth investing in your performance if you want to be there. That's one of the main questions that you have to ask yourself. So why performance? Why do you want to be there? Do you want to be there to make yourself better, to push yourself through, to do what it takes to improve? Or if you don't, there are these questions that come through. Well, you're now in the level where other people rely on you in order to achieve what it is that they want to achieve. So you have a responsibility to add to your performance. But at the same time, who wants to invest time and energy into something that they don't enjoy? So we all know that when we're at our best, that's when we enjoy the thing the most. So it's vital that we invest and get the best out of ourselves. That's part of the process, and that's where the enjoyment's going to be. So the 4 pillar system, the best way to improve is to create or to implement structure. So I put together 4 pillars that I think are vital in order to get the best out of ourselves. So the first one is premise. Your premise is what you believe. So it's what you believe about what you think you're capable of with regards performance. Now, the reason why this is important is because your beliefs create your behaviors. Now, if I were to ask you today, well, what type of behaviors do you have with regard your sporting discipline and your performance? And you might say, well, look, I want to be really good, but I'm doing this and I'm not going to training and I'm not following such and such a diet and I'm not following this. Well, in your behaviors are the clues of what you believe about what you're capable of. And if you take a step back and you look at your behaviors and then you take a step back, you'll be able to see what you fundamentally believe. You might say, yeah, I think I'd be able to play well, or I might be able to make the county team, or I might be able to do this. But if your behaviors aren't of the same as someone in that level, it means that you don't believe that you can get there. So it's really important, first and foremost, to look at what you believe about yourself and what you're capable of. Now, if you find that your beliefs are letting you down, there are processes that you can take in order to change your beliefs. And that's something that you can get in contact with me afterwards. If you think to yourself, look, I want to, but I don't believe that I can, get in contact and we look into that. The second pillar is your vision. So, what does your optimal performance look like? And I mean yours, not someone else's. What does your optimal performance look like? If you don't know, then you're never going to achieve it. If you don't know what your optimal performance looks like, then there's no way that you're ever going to be anywhere near it. It's like jumping in a car and me telling you to drive, but you having no destination in place. More than likely, you'll never arrive anywhere. Let's say there was a destination, but I never told you what it is. More than likely, you're never going to arrive there. You're going to make the wrong decisions along the way, and you're going to run out of fuel, and you're going to get nowhere. So you need to have a clear vision of what your performance looks like, what optimal performance looks like to you. The third pillar is your premise, and that's your why, and it's vitally important, but we'll talk about that later on in the presentation. And then the fourth pillar is your strategy, your how. So if your vision is point B, and today you're at, if your vision is point B, and today you're at point A, your strategy is the things that you need to do on a daily basis to move in the direction towards your vision. So those are your habits, your performance habits. And that's what we're going to talk about in this presentation. The things that you need to be doing on a daily basis in order to get to your vision. Now, the benefits of investing in improving your mental performance. So the cage and the beast. Now, I want to use this analogy because I was thinking about it today of how to bring a popular point of reference into what we're looking for. And I was thinking about beast mode because beast mode is kind of like when we're at our ultimate. So that is optimal performance. Beast mode is optimal performance, and it looks like a very physical thing. So your best performance, if you want, you can look at it as a beast. Now that's physical, but it's also mental. And a beast has to be unleashed or uncaged. because we don't walk around as our beast outside the realm of your chosen discipline. So this is where improving your mental performance comes into it. So mental performance, it also has a huge impact on the physical. So if the beast is the physical thing, your mental performance has a huge impact on it. So if you imagine your optimal performance is a beast in a cage, and we're talking about the fact that improving your mental performance helps you open that door and let that beast out. Improving your mental performance will also increase or build that beast inside the cage at the same time. So a bigger beast will be released. So you can create the best physique, have elite technical ability, but it's about opening the door and letting the beast out. And this is what improving your mental performance or your mindset will do. It'll allow you to show up on the day and execute what it is that you've been learning. So let's say it's all your strength and conditioning training, or it's the nutritional plan that you've been following, or whatever else it is that you're doing. We all know so many people who can reach peak physical condition and, like I said, have unbelievable technical ability. But when they show up, they underperform or they don't perform. And it's because they don't know how to open the cage and unleash the beast. And that's what improving your mental performance will help you with. So, the optimal performance formula, like I said, I wanted to create something tangible, little steps that you can do on a daily basis to be certain that you're going to improve and move towards your ideal vision. Because we don't want our best performances being abstract or happening by chance. We don't want our best performances being intangible or impossible to replicate. We want to know how to create our best performances step by step on a regular basis. We want to be able to show up every Sunday or whenever match day is, or whatever it is that you're doing, whatever your chosen discipline is, and know that we're going to perform. Too many people show up and it's a guess and it's a fingers crossed and it's a hope that I'm going to play well. What we want is to put a system in place, a step by step system to know that every time we show up, whether it be in training or game day, that we're going to get the best out of ourselves. We're going to be an 8 out of 10, a 9 out of 10, a 10 out of 10, instead of hoping, crossing our fingers, and saying to ourselves, maybe I might play well today. So, what I wanted to create was that formula that allowed you to know that when you show up, yeah, today I can unleash the beast. So, here's the optimal performance formula. This is what I think and what I have worked on with clients in the past to create optimal performance. So optimal performance is optimal growth plus optimal mindset. And I know we see that used quite often at the minute, growth mindset. Now, at the moment, in this equation, there are two separate things. They can merge and they can overlap, but they are two separate things here. So optimal growth is building that beast, and optimal mindset is unleashing that beast. So let's look at optimal growth. So if you want to take your performance to the next level, you need to grow. Like who you are today, your point A and your vision point B, the difference between point A and point B is improvement, is growth. So that's growth physically, cognitively, and emotionally. So like I said, I want you to be able to look at everything on a step-by-step level and know that, yes, today I can focus on that. I can do this. I can do that. I don't want there being a big kind of wishy-washy or blurred picture of what optimal performance looks like. I want you to have it a recipe, a little this plus this plus this equals that. So the optimal performance formula was optimal growth plus optimal mindset. Now we look at optimal growth, and within optimal growth, we have another formula. So we break it down even more. So optimal growth is physical or technical growth plus performance learning growth. So when we look at physical and technical growth, it's your body and your skills. We have a formula for that. So physical and technical growth is your energy investment plus your energy rejuvenation. Now you might have heard this used in a different way, a slightly different way, which is stress plus rest equals growth. And that's on a very physical level. So if you imagine the bicep, you put the bicep under pressure, you do your reps, your sets, you stress the muscle, you break the fibers, and then you rest. And your body goes from catabolic into anabolic. It produces human growth hormone. It puts a scaffolding around the muscle, repairs that muscle, it re-strengthens that muscle because it expects that muscle to be under the same stress as it was previously. So it strengthens it in order for us to be able to cope with that stress again. So that's physical growth. So we want to grow not just physically, but technically. So we're going to change stress to energy investment, and we're going to change rest to energy rejuvenation. And this is really, really important. And I really want you to get the image in your head of you have a finite amount of energy throughout the day. And so many of the activities that you do on a daily basis, from when you wake up until you go to sleep, you invest energy. But the more energy you invest, the less energy that you have to do whatever that might be with regard to your performance. So let's say you have a tough day at work. And I'm not just talking about physical jobs, I'm talking about jobs that use mental capacity as well. The energy that we use mentally is still the body's same store of energy, which can implement and affect how you train in the evening. If you've had a day where you've had to make lots of decisions, that's going to have an impact on how you train in the evening, whether that be with your team or at the gym. So our energy investment, it's really important that we understand how to do this properly. And then we follow it with energy rejuvenation. So let's look at energy investment then. People think that the best energy investment is actually temporal. The best investment we can have with regards to our performance is temporal. So it's the time that we invest. So practice makes perfect. Well, that's wrong. Practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So what do I mean by that? It's not time under stress that's the key part of growth. It's focus under stress. And that's not just with regards to physical, but it's the cognitive as well. When we're learning a new technique, a new skill, whatever that might be, it's not how many hours we do doing it, it's how focused we are within the time that we're doing it. So that's a really important thing to understand. Now, we want to improve with regards single tasking because that's focus. So let's say you're, and I'll use it because most people, no matter what the sporting discipline is, they're improving their strength and conditioning. So they're maybe going to the gym. You could go to the gym for an hour every day, but be distracted. So the time under stress is not helping you grow because the focus isn't there. So what we want you to do is we want you to concentrate on focus, single tasking, being present. The biggest thing that takes us away from single tasking is our thoughts. Our thoughts are the biggest distraction from focus. How you think in the gym is the most important factor in getting the most out of your session. Now, this little simple things like mobile phones in the gym, recording your workout on an app, because you lift up the app, you enter in what you've just done, and then suddenly you get distracted by a notification. And then you start to think about the notification, the people involved, and whoever sent that notification, the ramifications of maybe your reply, whatever that might be. And in the space of a minute, you've gone from single focused to digress to being distracted, and you're using energy to have those thoughts to think about whatever it is that's happening with your phone, and you're depleting your finite amount of energy during the day in order to enter into whatever that is on the phone. But if you can put this out of sight, out of mind, then you don't have that distraction. You're not going to digress as much, and you're going to be focused on the energy investment that you're giving. So like I said, it's not time that creates growth, it's focus that creates growth. So this is something that we want to learn. Now, there's a technique when we come to do energy rejuvenation, which will help us build the focus muscle. The focus muscle is the prefrontal cortex. That's how we be present. It's the conscious mind. When we come to do energy rejuvenation, we'll see that there are certain techniques that help us recover, but they also build the focus muscle. So when we're talking about energy investment, depending on your sport, I'm not going to tell you what stresses that you should be putting your body under because it's different for everyone. Certain athletes don't need to hit the gym as much as others do, depending on the sport. Certain athletes might prefer yoga than long distance running. I'm not going to choose that for you. But when it comes to energy rejuvenation, I am going to tell you certain things that are extremely beneficial. So the first one is sleep. And we all know that sleep is the greatest catalyst for physical, cognitive, and emotional growth. When you sleep, your body grows. The better the sleep that you have, the more growth. The longer the sleep, the more growth, because you sleep in cycles, and within each one of those cycles your body produces human growth hormone, which helps repair, regrow, rebuild. So the more that you sleep, the more that you grow, and the better you repair injuries as well. So that's really, it's an important thing. The second thing for energy rejuvenation is mindful meditation, or not just mindful meditation, but meditation in general. Because what you do is you're increasing your ability to focus. Now, when we begin to meditate, we find that it's extremely difficult. Even me, who I've been meditating for a couple of years, I can't go 5 minutes without being distracted and all over the place. So I'm not, let's say I'm not being efficient with my energy. My energy is going to other places, but I'm learning and I'm getting better at it. And I'm improving my focus, which means that when I go to invest energy, let's say it's a gym session, I can focus there. I can concentrate. I'm not distracted because of this technique, mindful meditation. But the other benefit of mindful meditation is that it takes us from a catabolic state, which is stress, to an anabolic state, which is growth. And that's what we want. We want to be, as often as possible, when we're not in those energy investment states, we want to be in rejuvenation. We want to be getting energy back into our system again. Now, another one that helps us rejuvenate energy is being in nature. Now, there are experiments that show that being in nature within 5 minutes of being surrounded by nature, let's say you're in a forest or you're walking in a field or whatever it is, your body will naturally switch from catabolic stress, where the body breaks down, to anabolic growth, where the body rebuilds and repairs. Now, when we're talking about energy investment and energy rejuvenation, I'm not just talking about your sporting schedule. I want you to think about this for your day. And this is one thing that I get my clients to do, and I think it's one of the best things that you can do. You structure your day, how your full day looks from when you wake up until when you go to sleep, and you write that out. And where you see the different intervals where you're going to be investing the most energy, follow that up by an activity that rejuvenates energy. So try and keep that balance. We don't want to be empty when it comes to the evening, because the more empty that you are with regards to energy, the worse decisions that you make, and you'll give in to temptation, because you need energy to make decisions first and foremost. And optimal performance requires good decision making. And secondly, you need energy to abstain from or avoid temptation. Maybe that could be a certain food, certain diets, things like that. If your energy's been depleted because you haven't been conscious or deliberate about how you spend your energy, then the plan of coming home from work and going to the gym and then eating a salad and rice and chicken or whatever that might be becomes, oh, I'm exhausted from work, pizza and Netflix and a beer. Pizza and Netflix and a beer, as enjoyable as they are, aren't going to bring you towards optimal performance if it happens often enough. And those things simply fall back into our lives because we haven't been efficient with our energy. We've given too much energy out when we've invested energy, and we haven't put some structure in place to rejuvenate or recuperate or repair that energy afterwards. So look at your schedule. Let's say, even for example, me on this Zoom call, I know that this is a big investment of my energy. So after this, I've scheduled in a run, and that's going to give me some of my energy back. So that's really important, to become deliberate and conscious about your energy investment and your energy and rejuvenation because fundamentally that's what creates physical and technical growth. Now, the other part of optimal growth is performance learning. If you don't learn from your performances, you won't improve. That's all I can say about that. Um, it's a fact. If you're not learning from your mistakes or from what you're doing well, then you won't get better. Now, performance learning, again, like anything else, I've broken down in the smaller pieces so we can look at it and we can go, for example, here, performance learning is pre-performance intentions and post-performance evaluation. We can look on a daily basis at our performance intentions and our performance evaluation. And therefore, at the end, we can tick off, okay, performance learning, done. Or previously, the physical technical growth, energy investment, energy rejuvenation, done. We can tick those things off, which means that we can move from our point A to our point B, our vision. So let's have a look at performance learning. So pre-performance intentions. Your intentions are what you wish to achieve or to get done in your session, whether that be a practice session, training session, or performance game, competition, whatever that might be. So that would be your performance intentions would be, let's say you choose 3 things that you want to do in that session before the session. Now, what that'll help you with, it'll help you create focus during your energy investment. And like I said at the beginning, it's not the amount of time that you spend in that realm, it's how focused you are when you invest that energy. So if you create some intentions, you increase your focus. And it also increases the likelihood of achieving your desired outcome. Imagine you go to training, and this is for everyone here who plays GAA, and you've written on your hand 3 intentions for the session: be in top 5 for the sprints, make 3 interceptions, and speak to blah, blah, blah about whatever that might be. Now, if you didn't make those intentions and have them there, then they don't always have to be in your hand. It can be in a book before training. Then the chances are of you carrying them out are pretty slim because you get distracted, the focus will go, and then when it comes after the session, you go, oh, I was supposed to do those things. But if you get them down and then you look at them, and even if they're on your hand, then there's focus. And you go, okay, that's what I have to do in the session. So when it comes to the sprints, okay, I have to be in the top 5 in these sprints. Bang, there you go. Or when it comes to interceptions or whatever that might be. And like I said, that increases the likelihood of you achieving your desired outcome. And that'll help you improve within your sport. Now, then we come to look at post-performance evaluation, and I've separated that into 2 things. One is feedback and the other one is self-analysis. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this because this is something that I do in my program. So if anyone wants to look at this, you can get in contact with me afterwards. But feedback is hugely important when it comes to performance learning. So seek feedback from trusted sources. Now, that doesn't mean that when you're playing a game and someone on the sideline who doesn't have your best interests at hand shouts to you, hey, you're crap at this or you're crap at that. That's not constructive feedback. Or the voice in the stand, someone shouting something at you. That's not constructive feedback. You have to seek feedback on a regular basis from a trusted source. So that could be your teammates or your manager, someone who has an investment in your improvement. And the best way to seek feedback is not there and then, it's just give it, let's say it's training, give it to the evening and then send your manager a message and go, hey, how did that go? How do you think that went? Because that feedback that you're going to be getting on a regular basis is going to help you learn. Now, the second part of performance evaluation is your own self-analysis, how you measure yourself. How well did you carry out your intentions, first and foremost? Because if you've written 3 intentions, you can come home after that training session or that game, whatever it might be, and you can look and you go, well, how well did I do that? Out of 10, how would I rate myself? I'm a 4. Well, I need to buck my ideas up, you know? So that's what's going to help you learn and increase performance. Now, self-analysis also creates increased accountability and gives you a better understanding of where you are on your journey towards achieving that original vision, your point B of where you want to go to. So like I said, it's really important to create that vision, to know where you want to go, because then you'll be able to see, okay, I'm getting closer. What do I need to do? I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And it'll help you make the decisions to get there faster. If you don't have a vision B, you'll not get anywhere. Now, The second part of the optimal performance equation. So we have optimal performance is optimal growth plus optimal mindset. Well, it's optimal mindset. And this is unleashing the beast. The first part was how to build the beast, using your mind to build the beast, to make your training sessions more efficient, to make your strength and conditioning more efficient. Your mind does that. Now, this part is okay, we show up on the day. What happens? So, your psychological state is crucial as to whether or not you convert preparation into execution on demand. That's really important. On demand. Because if it just happens every so often and we can't control it, well, then we're not in control of our own performance. We're leaving it up to Lady Luck, the wind, whatever that might be, whether or not we perform. And that's not good enough at the level that we want to play at the level that you're already entering into. So, psychological states like flow are a chance occurrence for most people. But for elite performers, they are regular occurrences. And there is a reason why for elite performers they are regular occurrences. Mindset is a personal and unique thing for everyone, but it can still be structured. So what I want to do is I want to give you little steps in order to create your own optimal mindset. It's not me saying, look, this is how X client in the past has done it. This is how such and such client has done it. It's not how this boxer did it. Whoever my previous clients might be, it's your own mindset. There's no one mindset. It's your mindset. So again, like everything else, we break it down into little steps. So optimal mindset is psychological preparation plus a hidden ingredient, which I'm not going to cover tonight because I think it's very important and it can't just be done in a session like this. So, psychological preparation. We have mood routine, we have visualization, and we have sports purpose. And these are the things are part of the equation that are going to allow you to open the cage and let that beast out and go and perform on a regular basis. So creating your own match day or competition day routine to elicit positive mood is extremely important. So you have to create a routine. And the reason why it's important is because positive mood allows you to access the part of your brain which helps you make the right decisions. You can't access that part of your brain, the decision making part of your brain where you make the best decisions. If you're in a negative mood, your brain shuts up. You become hyper vigilant of your environment, and all you can think about is getting out of there because your subconscious thinks, okay, there's something dangerous in our environment. Let's go. It's your fight or flight. Fight or flight doesn't exist if you're in a positive mood, which then allows you to make the right decision. When you're in a negative mood, the only decision that you can make is let's go, let's get out of here, or stand and fight. And they aren't beneficial on our journey towards performance. So we want to be able to prime positive mood on our match day or competition day. So we want to create our own routine, our own mood routine. Things that are important when we're creating our own mood routine are our environment, the people who we spend time with. Let's say you live at home and you have a negative relationship with a brother or a sister or a mum or a dad or even a wife or whoever that might be, or a husband, whatever that might be, there might be someone in your environment who annoys you. No, not all the time with regard to our spouses, but who annoys you, who might put you in that negative mood. Well, when it comes to match day, they can't be in your routine because if they're going to put you in that negative mood, then you're not going to be able to access the decision making part of your brain, which allows you to make the best decisions. So you have to be deliberate and conscious about how you spend your match day time, whether that be music that you listen to, the people who you spend time with, the areas that you spend time in. Let's say there's a place that you go to every Sunday, but it annoys you. And I'm talking about Sunday just because we have so many people playing Gaelic uh, here. So on a Sunday morning, that's when, or Sunday afternoons when we have the majority of senior games, you don't want to be spending time in an environment that puts you in a bad mood because again, that's going to implement your performance and that's going to affect your performance. You want to get into a routine, you want to write up your routine, know what it is, and then execute it every day, match day, competition day. And the more you execute it, the more that will become ingrained in your mind, and the more positive mood will be easily created. You'll be able to go into that zone more and more often. And that's the beginning of flow state. That positive mood that we take into the match day of the competition, that's the beginning of flow state, where we rid the mind of negativity and we're able to make the right decisions. And then everything just happens easily. Now, the second part of our psychological preparation is visualization, which is one of the most beneficial things in sport. And if you follow any basketballers, American footballers, in the world of soccer as well, but mostly in those American sports where there's a huge amount of money, this is the main thing that they invest in swimming as well. They invest in visualization. Now, because they know the benefits of it, visualization is something that we do naturally. I get a lot of clients say, but I don't know how to visualize. Well, you do it anyway, but we do it negatively. It's the what if. It's the what if I get injured again? Or what if I'm not fit enough? Or what if such and such scores and I'm supposed to be marking him? Or what if I make a mistake and my coach takes me off? You're visualizing. You're just doing it in a negative form. And what you're doing when you're doing it negatively is you're creating those stress chemicals because it's a stressful thought. And those stress chemicals are what's going to keep you away from making those right decisions. It's what's going to create that fight or flight that is completely non-beneficial to performance. So we visualize already, but it's mostly negative. Your mind listens to the words we tell it and the pictures we create. So create your own script. What I do with my athletes when I work with them is we create what their ideal performance looks like. That vision that I talked about in the beginning, we focus or we hone in on, okay, what does match day look like to you when you're performing, let's say your team sport? What does that look like? How do you perform? What can you hear? How do you act? How do you speak to your teammates? When you're doing a certain thing, when you're catching the ball or when you're getting into tackle or when you're taking a shot or when you're giving a pass, what does that look like? Because the more you can be descriptive on what that looks like and the more you can visualize it, just like how the body reacts negatively, the body will react positively. So the more that you visualize, when you visualize, it stimulates the same region of the brain as if physically doing the task. So therefore, your body already becomes used to those environments. Now, this is the big thing with regards performance anxiety and injury risk. The more you visualize an environment, the more your subconscious becomes fine with that environment. It no longer has to be hyper vigilant or hyper aware of what's going to happen or what could happen because you've seen it in your mind over and over and over again. This is what Conor McGregor talked about when he talked about this, the fact that, and this is where his walk comes into it when he does his little shoulder thing, his arm thing. He's showing that he's loose. And the reason why he's able to be so loose is because he's already visualized that fight 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 times. So his subconscious doesn't have to go, okay, what's happening here? Who's this guy in front of me? This cage, oh, whatever that is, those noises. McGregor's already visualized those. So the subconscious goes, yeah, we've been here before. We've done that. I can be loose. I'm not tense. Like, really famous, great fight to watch. And I'm not a huge MMA fan, but McGregor against Eddie Alvarez, where Alvarez was completely tight because he'd never experienced anything like that before. And his body went into fight or flight mode. Fight or flight mode tightens, gets ready either to run away or to fight the beast. But it's not the type of fight that we need. When we're fighting, we need to be loose, we need to be limber, we need to be able to make the right decisions. This is just pump the body full of blood, pump the muscles full of blood. What it does is it shortens our reach. It tightens our muscles so we have less spring in the system. And fundamentally, it ruins performance. So the more you visualize, the more you become um, calm or let's say comfortable in the environment that you're actually eventually going to be in, the more you'll be able to execute everything that you've done previously, your optimal growth. You can execute your optimal growth because you're comfortable in that environment. You visualized it. And when I say it lowers injury risk as well, a lot of injuries are caused because when you're having those negative thoughts with regard to your performance, negative thoughts create negative chemicals in the body, which fundamentally weaken the body. Eventually, it will weaken the body. Like the body rebuilds and repairs in an anabolic state. But when you have stress chemicals running in your body because of negative thoughts, then you're in a catabolic state and the body breaks down. It weakens everything. This is why we have so many ACL injuries, ankle injuries, things like that, because the body's been made weak. And those are the parts of the body that take the most stress. And so they buckle. So if you're saying things to yourself like, oh, I'm going to get injured today, or I'm going to play crap today, or I'm going to be taken off today, or whatever it is, and those stress thoughts create stress chemicals, which eventually weaken the body. And people say, well, how can your thoughts create chemicals? What's the best example? Multiple examples. One, tell an actor that he needs to cry in the next scene. What does he do? Well, he thinks about sad thoughts to create the sad chemicals to be able to cry, to give the body the command, I need to cry. And the action then becomes crying because he had the original thoughts. If you imagine for long enough that you're eating a lemon, your mouth will start to produce saliva. There is no lemon, but you've told your mind there is one, and so it just carries out what it needs to do. So the same thing for your stress thoughts with regard to your environment at football or whatever your sport might be. The more negative they are, then the body will react in that way. You give your body a command and it'll follow through. It doesn't ask if this is right or wrong, if it's good or bad. It just says, okay, that's the image that you're creating. That's the words that you're using. Okay, let's do that. Now, the final part of psychological preparation is your purpose. And we're going to call it your sports purpose because there's a bigger overriding purpose that we can look at. We won't look at today, but we're just going to focus in on our sporting purpose. And that's part of our preparation for the big performance. Your purpose is your why. And the reason why your why is important is because when the going gets tough, as it will on your journey towards optimal performance, having a powerful why I'm doing this thing, is a great way to harness or to create motivation. It's what will drive you beyond any obstacle that pops up. Let's say it's even in a pre-season and a really difficult pre-season and you don't want to do the runs. And then you start thinking about, why am I doing this? I'm doing this because of me, but I'm also doing it because of my family. And I'm doing it because of my teammates. And I'm doing it because of my club. And I'm doing it because of my community. It makes the preseason run that bit easier because your why creates motivation. The right why will allow you to endure more than you thought was possible. So that's part of your psychological preparation. Those three things, your mood, routine, your visualization, and your sports purpose, those are the things that open the cage door and allow that beast out, that optimal performance, you at your best. Now, the final part is the hidden ingredient behind optimal performance. And for me, it's the most important part, but we're not going to discuss this today. All I'm going to ask for you to take away from today's presentation is, why do some elite athletes have long, healthy, successful careers in their chosen discipline and other elite athletes don't? What I mean by that is that we all know the people who have the same technical ability, have the same talent, but they don't stay in the game for as long as someone else. A great example, I don't know if you might know them or not, is Quaresma and Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo, both Portuguese, both insanely gifted. Quaresma shot onto the scene, was going to be the next best thing, but he wasn't. And Ronaldo was. And that I want you to think about, because that's part of the hidden ingredient behind optimal performance, possibly the most important. And the final thing that we'll discuss very briefly for anyone who's interested is the performance program that this is attached to. I suppose it's called AMP because it's Athletes Mental Performance Program. So it's AMP, it's the AMP program, okay? So it's 8 weeks long and there are 4 1-hour sessions on Zoom, one-on-one. And session 1 and 2 will be about optimal growth, so the things that we've just discussed. And session 3 and 4 will be about optimal mindset and more on that hidden ingredient. So whether or not you get me via email or on Instagram, if you're interested in that, just let me know. That's going to start next week. I wanted to keep it to a minimum of maybe 10 clients. So if you're interested, get in contact as soon as you can. I've already got some clients coming in to start that next week. So just let me know. So let me see. Hopefully for everyone that was understandable. I should have said in the beginning, if you have any questions, put them in the chat, but I didn't say it and the chat's empty and I didn't offer the possibility to ask questions. But look, I'm on Instagram. A lot of you have me on Instagram and you have my email address. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Just send me them. And yeah, you can go watch Chelsea play Real Madrid or go do whatever it is that you've planned to do this evening. Like I said, because I'm careful and deliberate about my energy investment and my energy rejuvenation, because I know that I need energy to be able to function. This has used up energy. I've invested energy. So what I do now is I do something, I've already pre-planned it last night to do an activity that's going to give me some energy back. Even though it's late and I know I would be going to bed, I could still give in to temptation and sit on my laptop for hours and not do whatever I've planned to do that evening, which is read for half an hour. If I didn't go and rejuvenate and recuperate energy that's been given with regards to this, I wouldn't do the reading. I'd just sit on my laptop. So it's important to keep going even until evening time. It's not about being strict, it's just about being disciplined and being deliberate. Because if you want the best from your performance, whatever that might be, whether it be in business like myself or sport, those are the things that you need to do. If you're choosing to step into that realm, then you have a responsibility, like I said, to improve. So thank you very much. I hope, I'm not sure if that was recorded. And let me know if you have any questions. So, yep, thank you very much, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your evening.